Hey yo, it's your boy Monster Man Rocco.
It's your boy Swagger Rock.
This is Snack the Ripper.
And you have to go to don't know.
Master Ace. You are not rocking with the best.
Breaking records, man. Radio is like the place to be. I fuck strange music, man.
All right, you are now tuned in to Breaking Records Radio. My name is Alex, and I have here with me an absolute legend in the flesh, from being signed to Atlantic in the mid-2000s to releasing classic albums like The Greatest Story Never Told Part 1 and 2 to recently being signed to the Strange Music roster. Please welcome to the show, Saigon.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, man? How you feeling out there? How you feeling?
I'm doing good on my end here. I said this at the beginning of the call, but I can't thank you enough for taking the time out to speak to me here today. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, man. First of all, man, I noticed you guys up in Canada, and I love Canada. One thing I gotta say about even though I thought I'd never been to Canada physically, I feel the love. I feel the love from across the border. Like my whole career, I always got a lot of love from T-Dot, from Montreal, from all them pockets who really fuck with hip hop up there in Canada. They always showed me a lot of love, so I want to give the love back. That's why I said when you reached out for the interview, I'm like, yeah, I gotta do it for Canada. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. I think Canada has a pretty large following of that kind of traditional, old school, you can call it backpack hip-hop, whatever you want to do, but that traditional kind of New York sound, that grit, I think Canada does have a large following to that. I don't think it's the same caliber as what you see overseas in places like Germany or the UK. I think they kind of take it to another level, and I think they really end up paying respects to that. But I think Canada is not too far behind that, and it's nice to see that we still do end up kind of supporting legends of the craft and people that are actual writers, right? Not I don't know. You know the difference.
They're not the bullshit. Yeah, big difference. Big difference.
100%. So
I like to say if I can't write your raps down and read it, and it reads like something that I want to, I have no interest in.
100%. So I want to talk about Strange Music and the new record coming out as well, 777 Resurrection. However, I like to start these conversations off with a little bit of history first. And I first started hearing about you kind of during that run-up to The Greatest Story Never Told, which faced numerous setbacks in the late 2000s. However, I'm curious to kind of learn more about how you ended up starting in your origin. How did you end up getting introduced to hip-hop culture? Not even necessarily writing, but just as a fan. What got you into hip-hop?
You gotta understand, like I was born in 1977, so I was born around the same time. They said hip hop was born in '73, so I grew up with hip hop. I don't ever remember a time when there wasn't no hip hop. So it's like as I was being raised, my first introduction to music in itself was hip hop music. So it was a part of me. Plus my mother used to rap.
Oh wow!
So it's like. Yeah, so all my life I grew up around this music from the time I knew what music was. There was other genres of music she played as well, but hip hop was very prominent in my household all my life. So I'm one of those hip hop babies for real, to where, my UTFO tape, like I got UTFO tape for my birthday when I was like 5 years old.
That's
and
fantastic.
So the Fat Boys, I got the Fat Boys tape, and this is what I wanted. Like, I want the Fat Boys tape. I want Force and D's, and So I kind of grew with the culture, and I grew up with the music. So it's been a part of me as long as I've been alive.
What was the name that your mom rocked on the mic? Like, was she an actual, like, did she actually have
I don't know.
She
sang and rapped, so I know. So I don't know her rap name, but I just know like she would go at the drop of a hat. This is it. At the drop of a hat, she would start flowing. That's why when I got heavy into it, it was like she wasn't surprised by it. She was like, I kind of figured you would lean towards, something to do with the culture. Whether I started off as a DJ, people don't really know this. I was DJ Cogswell. My name was DJ Cogswell. And I got some bullshit techniques, SLs, not even the 1200s, some belt drive bullshit. And I used to make these little fucking whack ass mixtapes, and the shit was just not panning out. It took too long to learn how to scratch. I couldn't afford no techniques, so I was like, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna start rapping.
Yeah, well, 1200s were expensive at that time, right? Like, people
in fact,
in our
it's like
communities.
$500 a turntable. You needed like $1,000 back then. $1,000 was like 10 grand now.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Especially as a kid, right? You're like,
yeah,
you know,
you're like, Mom, I want these, and I need 2 of them.
yeah.
Bad enough one of them's 500. Yeah, but I need 2 and a mixer. You're like, oh, no thanks, buddy.
So was it the money that kind of hindered the DJ career? What ended up turning DJ?
Nah,
kind
it
of
was
into
actually actually I had some. It took too long to really learn how to get nice on scratching and all that, and I was trying to practice, and I got good at making blends. Like, I was able to blend, but the scratching part, like, to do what Scram Jones does and what DJ Scratch does and all those guys, I wanted to be one of a turntable, like Jazzy Jeff and all that. And that takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of practice. There's no kind of rhyming that you can do that takes as much practice as learning how to DJ or being a turntableologist, to where you can scratch and transform and cut with your elbows and your lips and all that. Like, I used to want to be one of those guys, but I didn't have the patience that it took to learn that skill set.
What
So
about
I picked
other
up the mic.
elements? What about like b-boying or graffiti? Did you?
Oh yeah, I
those
did
at
it
all?
all.
Or?
I did graffiti. I used to
dope.
break dance. I did every component of hip hop there is. I dabbled in it, but just the MC part just took on a life of its own as I grew up.
So when did the MC part kind of take a life of its own? When did you start kind of focusing on that more seriously than just kind of writing for fun?
It's funny because my whole life, ever since I was probably 11, 12 years old, I used to make little rap tapes and shit. And me and my cousins, and I got a bunch of male cousins that rap also. So we used to always make these little tapes. But I was just in the street. I was a wild kid. So as I started getting better at the rapping, it was like I also was getting better at being a criminal and being a crime guy.
No doubt.
And a street kid, so I would love to do the music, and I go straight from the studio to the block and getting some bullshit, and then I start getting locked up. And once I started to get locked up, the second time I got locked up is when I was like, you know what? While I'm here, I ain't got nothing to do. I'm really gonna hone this craft and really try to get as good at it as I can. And I started to really get good at it. So at this time, I'm probably around 14, 15. And my rap name was Catastrophe, and I was really, like, I was really good. I probably was the best guys in all of the little juvenile facilities I was in. I was the best rapper in every single one they sent me to. And so now I was like, maybe if I stay at this shit, I might get good enough to really do it professionally one day. I didn't believe that at that point. Then I got out of there, went home, started getting into more shit. So. But I was like wanting to be a rapper, but the streets just had a hold on me. So when my last case, I caught a long sentence, and that's when I really said, you know what, I got 6 years to do, but I'm gonna do this time, and I'm gonna really go home and pursue music, and that's where the whole Yard Father shit comes from. Like, they call me the Yard Father. That name, I got that name in the prison yard. And because I was the best rapper in the yard, so they used to be like, oh shit, Saigon's rap, the Yard Father's out rapping. It's to the point when I rapped, it was a special occasion. Because a lot of people in jail rap. I got so popular in prison as a rapper that it was like, I only rap on certain days, and the whole yard would know, the whole yard would gather around. So it'd be like a big deal, you know what I'm saying?
Man, that's fascinating.
And that let me know, like, if I can entertain these motherfuckers, these guys are miserable. They don't want to clap for you. They rather you boo you and be like, shut that shit up, because everybody in prison. So I'm like, if I can entertain these motherfuckers and get all these people hyped to hear me rap, I could definitely do it to normal people who's out in society. And then when I came home, that's the last time is when I said, okay, let me buckle down and really take this shit seriously.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think any kind of, say, prison time or any kind of separated from society or in servitude, I think you I think that presents itself an opportunity that a lot of people don't end up kind of taking, right?
Yeah,
of course,
it does,
you see people and they'll start working on themselves, they'll start working out, that kind of thing, and get into shape, and that's nice to see. But it's great to see when people are able to take that time alone and kind of spend that time working on a craft, let that be writing or drawing or whatever it ends up being. I was always kind of turned on by like the movie Slam, for example. I think represents that fairly well, but as a fictional tale anyhow, but I think it represents it well with Saul Williams and kind of doing the same thing with slam poetry and perfecting that while he was in jail. To Blackistan, a little bit more of a recent example, but that was another story that is just kind of buckle down when you're in jail and prison and really work on your craft. I think it's an opportunity that a lot of people don't end up taking, but I think you end up seeing amazing results when people really end up having that determination to kind of focus all of their energy on that for an extended period of time. And I think you can see that with yourself as well.
Thank you, man. And I agree. Like, you just said something interesting. Like, a lot of people, you're right. They go in there, and that's why you see the guys come home all jacked with muscles and shit, because they go in there and they work their bodies, but a lot of them refuse to work their mind, and or they forget to work their mind. They don't understand that's the most important component of who you are, is your thought process. So if you go in there at 15, 16 or young and you do 10 years and you come home 25 and you didn't do nothing to build your mind, you're still 15.
Yeah, 100%.
You're physically 25, but your mind didn't grow at all. You didn't. Prison is like one long day. It's like a 10-year day. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because nothing really changes around you, and your environment doesn't change. Like the nothing really evolves in there, So everything stays the same. You eat on a schedule. You eat fish every Friday. It's like a fucking. So you get into this routine, and before you know it, 5-6 years have passed, and you've been doing the same thing every day.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you don't take the initiative to go read books and go to the libraries that's available to enhance your mind, you're gonna go in the same person you came out with, muscles. That's it.
Yeah, it's crazy. People make excuses for not working on their mind in all walks of life, not just in prison, but in everyday life. And the number one reason that they end up giving is time, right? Is they don't have the time in order to dedicate. They have a family, they have responsibilities, and they don't have time to sit down and read a book or take a class or do anything like that. But prison ends up giving that opportunity, and you still see people not taking it. And that's crazy to me. But at the same time, it does take a certain level of determination and a certain type of person, I think, in order to put that time to work.
A lot of people don't use that time, though. You'd be surprised how many people ignore that, and it's idle time. Like during this pandemic, I wrote a book, and we were in quarantine for 3.5 months. I used that time. I wrote a whole autobiography about my life. You know what I'm saying? So any time is at an essence. Any time you give me that I capitalize it, make something happen with it, I'm gonna utilize it to the best of my ability.
Yeah, I think the pandemic is a great example. It just gives people a surplus of time, but then you get to see what they do with it, right? And I think we've been able to see the people that have really kind of flourished and really kind of prospered in this environment, and then the people that have just let it go to waste. And I think it's two different types of people, and I think it kind of correlates with success in many ways.
Yeah, 100%.
So by the time that I really ended up kind of tuning into you, you already had a sizable following and lots of connections. Like I'm talking about Just Blaze production, Jay-Z features. How did you end up writing rhymes and I guess being that yard father to being linked up with people like this, right? Jay-Z, Just Blaze, etc.
Well, I came home with a bunch of book bag full of raps and a dream, and so. When you get out of prison, all of them people that never sent you a letter or never checked in on you, all of a sudden it's, yo, son, I was thinking about you. Here's $100 or here's $200 or, then you get all them people who supposedly loved you so much. So I took all that little money that these people were giving me, these kids who didn't even write me a fucking letter the whole time I was in there. But I took it and I went into the studio with it and I made a little 3-4 song demo. And luckily I met a guy in prison who knew somebody. So when I got out, it was like, yo, there's this producer named Mark Ronson. He's a young DJ, and you know, he wants to work with some new artists. And then there's this another young producer named The Alchemist who starting to work with Mobb Deep. He comes from the West Coast, from the Muggs camp. But you know, he moved to New York, and you know, he got some dope beats. So my first couple songs were on like Alchemist beats and Mark Ronson beats, and they weren't who they are today, obviously, but you know, they had the talent. The talent was there. So
yeah, and they had some sort of following, right? They were working with like Dilated, for example, which was starting to blow.
Yeah. But small, but not nothing like today. Like nobody was going crazy off Alchemist beats back then. It was
100%.
like so you know, once I put together a quality little project, and then I independently had a drug dealer friend. I'm like, yo, let's take some of your money and start this Abandonation label. And the thing was, I wasn't done with. I thought I was done with the streets, but I wasn't. So this guy's investing money into this into me as an artist because he believed in me. But I'm still hitting people in the head with bottles when I go out to the bar. I'm still fucking getting arrested, doing dumb shit. He's like, bro, you're gonna make me lose my investment. Because if you go to jail, you do one wrong thing and you go back to jail for a long time, all my money's down the drain. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I tried to calm down, but I ended up doing some other dumb shit. And then, you know, he was like, you know what? I'm done. You take it. So he let me take all the music we made, and I just started going to mixtape DJs and being like, yo, man, I'm a rapper. I got a new case. I'm probably not going to be around, but, you know, I want to do something with this music. And then start to get into the right people's hands. I got an unsigned hype at the Source magazine, and then people start to pay attention. And before you know it, like mixtape DJs were like asking me for music, and you know, I was giving them music, and then Sycamore, a DJ named Sycamore, came and was like, yo, man, you got a nice little buzz going on, with Just Blaze. I talked to Just Blaze. He's looking for an artist, and he introduced me to Just Blaze, and Just Blaze heard the music, and he wanted to. Then he signed me to Atlantic Records.
Man, what a blessed career over the years, right? Like, not very many people can say that happened, but that's.
I never gave up, man. The best thing I know it sounds cliche, man, but the best thing I did is I never quit, even when it was times where, like, we had went to every major label, and it was like they passed on me, and that can get discouraging. You know what I'm saying? You know, I went to every major label the first go around, and I thought I had what it took, and you know, they all was like, yeah, we'll pass. I'm talking about Def Jam, Universal, Warner, all the Capitol Records. They all passed. So I'm like, shit, maybe I'm not. Maybe that jail shit was just some jail shit. Maybe those guys are easier to entertain because. So I could have easily gave up then, but you know what? I said, nah. You know what? The streets is fucking with me though, and this is something they don't realize. And the streets is fucking with me. And once the streets kept co-signing me, I kept going. And as I kept going, got to the point every label that turned me down offered me a deal.
I heard around this period of time as well, there was a possibility of signing to G Unit. Can you elaborate on that? If there's truth to it?
Yeah, there's truth to it. There's truth to that. You know, before I did my deal, this is right when 50 did his deal. Like, I used to love what 50 had going on. I still love what 50 does and shit. But back then, like from a music standpoint, even though it was not the route I would have took, like if I had that same kind of, you know, platform. But I was really, really, really into his shit because it's street shit. You know, I was a street guy.
Yeah, it was dope.
So yeah, and he's talented. The guy's talent. It was, you know, he's a very talented guy. So me and him, I got introduced to him by a guy who worked at the Source magazine. He was giving him a cover story, and I knew Sha Money XL. Sha Money XL was one of the producers who was giving me beats. And Sha Money called and was like, 50, you know, 50 that got shot. He's like, I'm working with him. So I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. He's like, yeah, he's about to come back out. He was like, I want to get y'all two together, man, but me knowing him and me knowing you, either y'all motherfuckers are going to be best friends or y'all not going to like each other. He told me that before I even introduced us. He's like, either y'all going to click and be cool, because we both cancers, too. Cancers could be a little stubborn, you know what I mean? So he introduced us, and things were well for about 4 days. We were good friends for about 4 or 5 days, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then everything he said, to the point where I was walking around saying "G with it," nigga, like I was wearing the clothes, I was part, and he was okay with it. He's like, nah, rep, my nigga, rep. And then we just had a fallout because we're both alpha males, and 2 alpha males sometimes can't coexist.
Gotcha.
50 likes people around him that he can control, and they bobblehead dolls and shit. And he say, I'll never be one of those. Like I'm a leader, so
yeah.
I can't be a yes man. If I don't like something, I'm gonna speak up on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna just sit there because you the breadwinner and be like, whatever you say, boss. Like that ain't my style.
100%. Obviously, with friendships also came some beefs as well, and I know the Prodigy thing happened, and I don't really want to talk about that so much. Dude's dead and he can't really defend himself. But have you, over the years, squashed any of that beef with Joe Budden? And yeah.
Yeah, me and Budden. The thing with Budden, Budden didn't want no beef, but that shit was rap beef. You know what I'm saying? Because when he started throwing my name around, I did what I'm used to, and I'm like, okay, we're not gonna do all the talking. When I see you, I'm gonna beat the brakes off you, like straight up and down. I'm gonna whoop skin off you. It wasn't even. And then he reached out and was like, "Oh, what, you scared to rap? I don't want no street problems. That ain't my thing. Like, but this is rap. This is you scared to battle me? You scared to you're pinning? So he lured me in. You know what I'm saying, by challenging my machismo when it comes to being an MC. So me and Budden, we weren't friends. I wouldn't say we were friends, but we didn't hate each other the way the records reflected. The records, we were talking about each other's kids and, all kind of crazy shit, but it was behind the scenes. It wasn't that malicious. It almost got malicious, and then he checked it right away. Like, yo, I don't want those kind of problems, like no streets. I don't want to walk up and somebody pistol whips me and shit because of something I said on the radio. Like, so he let it be known he was man enough to do that. Because a lot of these suckers would be like, they not built for that kind of shit, but they got a save face. They got, yo, I'm a rapper, and rappers got to be tough guys. And then when some tough guy shit happens, they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, it's crazy how shit escalates so quickly.
Yeah, man. Shit gets real very fast, man. But Budden's a good guy, man. I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him. He learned how to, he's smart, and he knows how to reinvent himself. He learns how to stay relevant and to keep himself on people's fucking. Joe Budden's always in somebody's mouth. Pause, but he's always on somebody's lips, man. Like since Pump It Up.
100%. In retrospect, I feel like the rollout of that first album, kind of moving on to this now, but the Greatest Story Never Told. I feel like, I guess in retrospect, that the rollout for that first album is probably clearer now. How do you think that the delays for The Greatest Story Never Told really impacted you? Do you think of it kind of as wasted opportunity, or do you think of that hype as something that was kind of beneficial to you? Because let's be honest, at the time,
it was detrimental to the core. Like, only reason why the album even seen the light of day was because my persistence. Like I said, like I wouldn't take. That album was never supposed to come out. And if it was up to Atlantic, it would have never came out. Like, I had to wait till my guy G. Roberson got in such a high position at that label. He was able to give me my album and say, you could take it somewhere else and put it out. Because it was up to the execs that signed me there. They would have never gave me the masters to my project. So it would have never seen the light of day. So, and you got to think, I had so much other shit going on when the album was supposed to come out. I had Entourage. I was on the biggest TV show on television.
Yeah.
I was on every magazine cover. I used to walk past newsstands and see myself on 4 different magazine covers and ask myself, why are they not putting my music out? And it was because they felt like they didn't have no radio hits, and my content was too serious, and it was more so about social commentary, and that's not what they're into. One exec pulled me to the side and she said, Saigon, you can bust your artistic nut on the rest of the album, but I need my 3 songs to sell the record. But your 3 songs are going to be what I'm known for.
Yeah.
Like, your singles are the ones you're going to put the money behind, and that's going to be a reflection of who I am. So I'm telling them, put the money behind Pain in My Life. Put the money behind Believe It. Put the money behind Color Purple. Put the money behind these songs that have meaning, and that way I'll have a strong foundation. I want my foundation in this game to be somebody who's serious, not somebody who's going to make a fucking party song. I don't even go to parties. I don't party. You're asking me to make strip club songs when I don't even fucking go to strip clubs. And I used to have this issue with my record company. Oh, you gotta have a strip song for the strip clubs. I don't go to strip clubs. Why the fuck? I don't even care if they play my music or not. And to them, this is how we break records in fucking nudie bars. I'm like, in titty bars? This is how you break hip hop records? So you telling me Tupac, if Tupac was around now, Dear Mama couldn't have been a single. Keep Your Head Up couldn't have been a single. Fucking all of them songs that made us love Tupac, in this day and age, they would have, if he came to the label with them, they'd have dropped them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people, at least in my circle, and from what I seen online, kind of the reception as the album was being delayed over and over again, was the comparison to that in Detox, right? And I think a lot of people feared that it was going to end up being a Detox situation. Obviously, in retrospect, that didn't happen. We did end up getting the project, and it was really dope. But that was years probably too late.
7 years later. And you know what's ironic? I remember asking not Kevin Lyles. It was Mike Kaiser, who worked at Atlantic. So this was around Entourage. I had Come On Baby out. You know, I was doing well. So he asked me, he said, and I'm like, yo, why are they not putting on my album? He's like, because they don't think it'll perform like up to. So he asked me, so if we put out your album, what do you think you'll sell? I said, the first week. I said, I probably could do like 65,000, 70,000 records, which to me would be a success.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know if you'll do 70,000 records. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I think at that point there was hype, right? Like, I
put the record out. This was 2005 and 6 when I'm at the peak. I put the record out 2011 on Suburban Noise, a fucking small ass indie label that has no other real hip hop over there besides. They really had no real hip hop. They do like Swollen, Swollen, Prevail and Child. I give it to them. But I ended up selling 11,000 records 7 years later the first week. I said, so think about it. So to me, this was a win. If I could sell 11,000 records on the album the first week, on an album that's 7 years too late, when there's no more Entourage, there's no more hype and all that, I still managed to sell 11,000 records, I easily could have sold 70,000 records.
Yeah.
So I knew I was right. So I knew I was right. And the thing is, and everybody was trying to hit a home run at the time. I'm like, bro, why can't I have a career like an artist why my first fucking project got to go diamond? Like, come on, let me build my way up to that. Let me build my foundation. Let me build my fan base. And it was just a bad situation overall.
So why did you end up going with Suburban Noise for that project? Like, I know at the time, as you said, they were releasing like Madchild and Prevail stuff, both their solo stuff. I think Madchild had Dope Sick out, that was out on Suburban Noise. Prevail had just dropped that Space Face EP, and then Swollen Members was also putting out stuff. Besides that, though, really you had like Cottonmouth Kings kind of ran that label for a very long time. Why Suburban Noise? Like, yes, they were putting out records, but at the same time, it just didn't feel like it fit for your style. There was nothing else on the label that sounded like you, which maybe isn't a bad thing, but still.
Well, the Suburban, when I talked to the guy, what's his name, Kevin Zinger, and I reached out to him actually, and I was like, I got this album. I just got my masters back from MLNY, and I was like, I was gonna go to like another like hip hop label, but I didn't want to. They all coincide with each other, and they all do this, follow one another. So I'm like, let me go somewhere where they think outside the box, and they're not gonna try to, and try to change who I am as an artist.
Yeah.
And once he gave me that, it's the same, almost similar with Trav and Tech Nine. They understand I have a vision. I come with a vision. So I'm not looking for your vision. I have my own vision. I just need you to support my vision. And the same thing I did with Atlantic Records, but they were so head up their own asses. They're like, oh, we're the visionaries, and you're just the guy we signed to do. They was trying to make me do records with Pretty Ricky, bro. That goes to show you that they have no idea who Saigon was. A Saigon Pretty Ricky record doesn't even make sense on paper, on theory. It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
But so I was able to go over there to Kevin Zinger, Suburban Noise, and get a commitment, not only a financial commitment, but a commitment that we're gonna let you do it your way, and support it. And so it made sense. So I did. I mean, it didn't last long because it got funny. They started doing the funny business shit, and so I got up out of there. But I do thank Kevin to this day for giving me the opportunity to put that album out, because we had to replay a lot of samples over because the sample was getting high. We had to bring Just Blaze back into the fold and bring a lot of people back into the fold, and it took a lot to get that album out. So, but everything they said they would do, they did it in the beginning, and then when I didn't think they didn't expect the project to perform as well as it did, because it ended up selling like 80,000 copies overall. And on that's Suburban amazing. Noise, that's like platinum. What I'm saying?
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, so the album performed really, really well, and then the money got funny. Then I just was like, you know what? Let me get up out of here and just go, finish doing what I do.
I want to talk about Strange Music and how that deal ended up kind of coming together. How did you end up meeting Tech Nine and I guess the people at Strange? And then, how did that label end up coming to be?
Okay, so I met Tech years ago, man. I met Tech probably 10 years ago, but just on some, I respect what you do, and legendary MC, and just a lot of respect as an MC. And it was me and his business partner that really started to talk business more so than me and him, and a guy named Travis O'Gwen. And everybody needs to know about this guy. He's the most impressive guy I ever met in the music business, like in all the years I've been in this business. Wow. I've never been so impressed by a guy. But the co-owner of Strange Music, Travis O'Gwen, we had been talking, and I just was letting him know like what I wanted to do at this stage of my career. Because once you hit your 40s, it's like, okay, you got to really weigh and judge how you want to, not only if you want to still continue to do music, but what you're going to say in your music. You're not going to say something that you were saying at 22, at 42.
Yeah.
Or you used to be one of those motherfuckers that's stuck, or as Nas would say, in your third childhood. And I'm not. That was never going to be me. So I started to have these conversations with Travis, more so Travis. Where Trav goes, he relays it to Tech, and Tech yay or nays it. Me and Tech is really more. We're MCs, so when we build, it's more so on the music side of it. But on the business side of it, It was more so Travis O'Gwen. And so I let him know, like, I don't want to be an artist at this stage, like, go sign a new record deal. So he was starting a new company at the same time. It Goes Up. The company is called It Goes Up, and it's powered by Strange Music. So Strange Music is like the head parent company, but It Goes Up is like the distribution arm of Strange Music. So I said, that's perfect for me because I can get all the resources and the services that Strange artists get, but I can still be my own boss.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I don't have to go run and throw this. I'm not waiting for the snake in the bat chain. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I rock it. I rock the logo. I rock it with pride because, I think, like I said, I've never been so impressed by the way somebody runs their shit. But at the same token, I'm a boss in my own right. Like, I got Point Blank Media Group. I started Hip Hop My Way, a big website for new and up and coming artists. I founded that and did that and built that from the ground up. So I needed to maintain my role as, okay, like, I can't come in this game like I'm with my hand out, like, hey, I'm looking for a record deal. I've been down that road too many times, and Travis and Tech understood that and they respected it. You know what I'm saying? And they respected it. And it was like, nah, let's work together. Let's put the play together. So it makes sense for everybody. Everybody's happy, and so far, so good, man. This is the most comfortable I've felt in an artist situation in my whole career.
Yeah, you want something organic and you want something that feels mutual. You don't want to any kind of business transaction. You want to feel like you're contributing to them, and you want to feel like you're getting something in return that's of fair and equal value, right?
Exactly, and that's what I think. That's why I think our dynamic is, because I've already got a new artist that I'm thinking about signing over there for a project or two. A guy named OT the Real, Skip Philly, who's really blowing up and shit. And I'm gonna put him in a situation and bring him to meet Trav and Tech, and so they can help him, because he's a new up and coming guy. He's on fire, so it works for everybody, because these guys have a built-in fan base. There's been guys that follow Strange for years, and they embraced me already just because they didn't even know who I was. But just like, you know what, we're gonna support you because you fucking with Strange. We support anything that Strange does, and they've worked hard to build that, but they have that. There's like 7,000 people with Strange music tattoos, bro. 7,000.
I know a couple of them. Yeah, they have a hardcore dedicated fan base, and
I've never seen a motherfucker with a Def Jam tattoo. Yeah, I didn't see a Def Jam tattoo. I never seen an Interscope tattoo. I never seen none of that shit. But you see Strange music tattoos, like 7,000 that they know of, that they have on record.
I didn't know the number, but I know a couple of them personally, and yeah, they've done that
Tell
on
you
themselves.
what,
That's amazing.
Trav knows every number in the world. Like, these got the most meticulous, on point people. Like, they run their shit like a fucking, like, Google. Like, their shit is like Google. It's all algorithms.
That's amazing.
It's all analytics. They run that shit really, really impressed. I'm seldom impressed. I was so impressed by how they run it. When you go out there to Kansas City, see how they run the Strange music empire, you understand why they're as big as they are.
Yeah, it's business, and they do it clean. They've done it for a long time consistently, which
and they're very transparent. You know, they had the whole TDE label was on Strange, and they let them go. Like, that's how it wasn't just J-Rock, Kendrick. The whole label was signed to Strange Music, and Trav was honorable enough to let them go, and because he knew they had an opportunity to spread their wings and probably outgrow the situation, and he let them go do that. A lot of these fucking music industry mutts would have been like, nah, take me to court. I'm gonna hold you because I see you have potential to be great and be big. I'm sure they had some monetary shit had to go down to where I'm sure it wasn't a Suge Knight, Dr. Dre type shit situation, but for you to let somebody go and let them grow and spread their wings when you have them contractually obligated, but you see the potential, this says a lot about you as a person,
Yeah, 100%. I want to talk about the new project here before I get you to go. So for those listening at home, you have a new EP coming out on August 28th called 777, The Resurrection. Can you tell the people a little bit about this project and what this project means to you, maybe in comparison to some of your other work that you've done in the past?
Yeah, it's the resurrection, man. It's me coming back into this game with a whole new focus and a whole laser focus and better partners, better business partners. And like the music is produced by one producer on this project. His name is Street Runner. He just won a Grammy for the DJ Khaled Nipsey Hussle song Higher with John Legend.
Oh, wow.
The song Higher. He produced that record. So
that's great luck.
Yeah, it is, man. For him to come back to another super producer who's on top of the game, because everybody knows me from working with Just Blaze, and you get spoiled working with artists of that talent. When Just Blaze says, "Yo, I got something for you," it's going to be crazy. You don't even have to hear it. And it's like the same thing with Street Runner. Like, once he says, "Yo, I got an idea," you automatically your ears perk up because it's going to be a good idea. So being able to come back with that level of producer and with this label of team with Strange Music is like, okay, I'm in the perfect position. So the music is Saigon. The music is still something you're gonna learn from, something you can grow from. I still go to my favorites when I go look for features. I don't go look for the hot guy and shit. Who's hot? Who's popping right now?
Yeah.
I go and find the people I like. So, I got Marsha Ambrosius. I love to work with Marsha Ambrosius. She has the voice of an angel. So she brings out a lot of emotion, and I like to do that with music. When I look for a spitter, I go get Coogee Rap, man. Coogee Rap's on this project. So we did a song called Letter P. We did a song called The Letter P in like 2005. So I wanted to revisit it. I'm like, let's do a new one. Let's do an updated 2020 version of the letter P, and it's called the MF Effect. You know, I got my 8-year-old daughters on my album rapping. Like, this to me is one of my, even though it's 7 songs and it's 777, like I did the whole concept around the number 7, and I think this 7 songs is more powerful than had I done an 18 song project.
That's amazing to
You know what I'm
hear.
saying?
Yeah. Physical media wise, CD, tape, vinyl, what do you plan on having for this release?
Everything. I'm doing vinyl. I got a pre-order. People can go to my Instagram and pre-order, or go to Strange Music. The Strange Music website. They can order a pre-order, so you get an autographed CD if you want. I press CDs. Like, that's another thing with the label. They were like, we don't know if we should do CDs. And I'm like, man, let's just do a small amount, because a lot of my fans still come from the CD era, and they like the physical product. So, I did
bunch, yeah.
Yes, I did a small run of CDs. So I'm gonna do vinyl, and you know, it'll be all on all the streaming sites on Friday. Perfect. So we try to cover all grounds and shit, and just get the word out and let people know I'm back in the game. But the thing is, I'm not going away this time. This time, one of my biggest mistakes was stopping, or thinking I had the luxury to putting out a dope project and be like, oh, I'll be back in 4 years. Like, that shit don't work in this day and age. People attention span is way too short. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm probably gonna drop another album before the end of the year.
Oh wow, that soon.
Yeah, probably October.
That's amazing. You also mentioned earlier in this conversation that you wrote an autobiography during the pandemic here. What's the plan for that?
October, November, probably with the second album come the book.
Amazing.
Because right now I'm in the editing stages. I just want to get people used to my voice being out there and get back in the swing of things. Because taking 6 years off in this climate is damn near career suicide, bro, for a rapper.
Yeah.
Like, you got to think, if my last project came out 2014, it's 2020. If a kid was 12 years old, he's 18 years old. It's a totally different person. If he was 18 when he heard it, now he's 24. He's a totally different person. So that 6 years is a fucking huge lapse of time. You know, so now I got to come in and reinvent myself and reestablish myself and try to knock on the doors of the people who knew me, but also try to get new fans and try to tap in what's going on today. So it's a process that so far so good. You know, for me to just come back, I feel the energy coming on, like, and especially like getting people calling for interviews, and people wanna hear your story. People want to know, when people want to care enough to sit there and give you their time, like what we're doing right now, it lets you know you left some sort of impact to where I'm sure there's millions of artists that came. You do not give a fuck to interview, right or wrong.
Fair enough. Yep.
Like, no thing. I'll pass on that one, because it's like, they is a lot of these guys are like cookie cutter, and they're like, okay, it's like, just add chain, get a nigga a chain and some face tattoos, and we have another rapper. Put little in front of little something.
Yeah, they missed the substance.
Hey, little turd and shit. Nigga call himself little turd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they lack the substance, and your career has that substance, right?
They lack soul. They lack soul. There's no soul in the music no more. When you take away the soul, you take away the soul out of a music, then that's like James Brown with no dancing shoes, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't gonna be the same. It's like telling James Brown, we like you, but you can't dance. Like, what do you mean I can't? That's part of what makes me James Brown. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they try to clip your wings. And they do that. Corporate America does that. And I'm like, you guys don't understand the importance of soul. I could like something and not feel it. When I feel something, I fuck with it. Like, I could like a song, but I like this shit, but I don't feel it. Like, it don't move me. It don't do nothing for me. But if it comes on in the club, I could bop my head, or I could even hum it. I could even hear it while I'm driving the car. But a song that touches me to where it invokes emotion, that's a different kind of level.
100%. I totally agree.
And that's what that's what I try to provide with this project. I think this project is going to touch a lot of people like that.
Man, I'm so excited to hear this. I'm excited to hear the project you have coming out at the end of the year. I'll be listening to both 100%.
Yeah, man.
We'll be playing it on the radio, no doubt, as well. And I'm excited to read that book. I'm a big fan of hip hop literature. I probably
I appreciate it, man. You're gonna learn a lot. I'll let you see. You're gonna learn so many about, like, because I get into detail about everything we just had about my early life, about my mother being my mother rap. My mother was also like incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? So my mom's was a street chick. My mom's was a real hood, and so I get it a lot of my ways and my mannerisms from my mother, because she raised me for the most part. And it's like, so I never really got in detail about my story, not even in my music. So this book was an opportunity for anybody that cares to really be able to go and dig deep and to see, like, you know, why I operate like I operate, and where I come from and how I grew up and all of that shit. You know what I mean?
I think the book will do very well. I think there's a lot of people that are interested in these kind of stories from people such as yourself, and people that have had the sort of experiences that you have had. I think the book will do very well. I know myself, I'm interested, and I know a lot of people around me would definitely be interested in reading something like that as well.
Thank you, man. That means a lot, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot, man. I look forward to sharing it with the world.